The lights of Meridian Point Station reflected off the polished floors of the main diplomatic hall. Kate stood at attention near the entrance, her dark blue uniform crisp and pressed. She had been on security detail for 3 weeks now, ever since humanity made first contact with the Galactic Council. The job was simple enough. Stand still, look professional, make sure the ambassador stayed safe. She was good at her job. Back on Earth, she had served 6 years in the military before being selected for the diplomatic security team. At 5'7", she was not the tallest person in the room, not by a long shot. The aliens made her feel small. The especially. Commander stood across the hall, speaking with his warriors in their harsh, clicking language. He was massive, 8 feet tall, maybe more. His body was covered in thick gray skin that looked like armor. Muscles bulged under his ceremonial clothing. His 4 arms crossed over his chest in a gesture that Kate had learned meant superiority. His warriors mimicked the pose, all of them staring at the humans with barely hidden contempt. Kate kept her face neutral. She had dealt with bigger problems than some arrogant aliens who thought they owned the galaxy. Ambassador Gregory Hayes stood in the center of the hall, smiling and nodding as a small green alien explained the trade agreements. The ambassador was a patient man. He had to be. The Galactic Council moved slowly. Every species wanted to have their say. Every delegation needed to feel important. They had been the worst. From the moment they arrived, they treated the humans like insects. They pushed past people without apology. They took the best seats. They interrupted meetings. When Ambassador Hayes tried to discuss trade routes, had laughed, actually laughed. Then he said something in his language that made his warriors grunt with amusement. Kate did not need a translator to know it was not a compliment. The cultural exchange ceremony was supposed to help. Representatives from each species would share something from their home world. Music, art, food. The idea was to build understanding, to create bonds. The brought weapons. Presented a massive blade nearly as long as Kate was tall. He held it in one of his 4 hands like it weighed nothing. Through the translator device, he explained that culture was built on strength. The strong ruled, the weak served. There was no middle ground. Other species in the hall shifted uncomfortably. Some looked away. Kate noticed that none of them challenged the statement. When it was humanity's turn, Ambassador Hayes presented a small wooden box. Inside was a chess set, carved from earth oak. He explained that humans valued strategy and thinking ahead. That strength without wisdom was dangerous. Stared at the chess pieces for a long moment. Then he picked up the king, held it between 2 fingers and crushed it. The hall went silent. Ambassador Hayes took a breath. His face remained calm, but Kate saw the tension in his shoulders. She moved closer just a few steps, close enough to intervene if needed. Noticed his eyes, small and yellow, fixed on her. He said something in. The translator spoke with a flat, mechanical voice. "This female thinks to challenge me." Kate did not respond. She simply stood there, hands at her sides, meeting his gaze. The ambassador stepped forward. "Commander, I think there has been a misunderstanding. Lieutenant is simply doing her job. Perhaps we should take a break and—" Moved fast, faster than something that large should move. He crossed the distance between them in 2 strides. One massive hand shot out and grabbed Kate by the throat. He lifted her off the ground with ease. The other humans shouted. Security alarms blared, but Kate did not panic. She had trained for this, not specifically for aliens, but for bigger opponents, for people who thought size meant victory. Her right hand moved to his wrist, finding the joint between 2 of his arm plates. Her left hand braced against his forearm. She twisted her body, using his own grip as leverage. Her legs came up, and she drove her knee into the inside of his elbow. There was a crack, loud and clear over the alarms. His arm bent the wrong way. He roared in pain and dropped her. Kate landed on her feet, breathing hard but steady. The commander stumbled back, cradling his broken arm against his chest. His warriors rushed forward but stopped when Kate raised one hand. "That was a mistake," she said. Her voice was calm, cold. "Do not make another one." The hall erupted into chaos. Alien security rushed in from all sides. The human delegation surrounded their ambassador. Warriors formed a circle around their commander, weapons suddenly in their hands. But no one moved. Everyone stared at Kate, standing in the center of it all, not even breathing hard. His yellow eyes were wide, not with anger, with something else, something Kate recognized. Fear. He looked down at his broken arm, then back at her. He said something in. The translator struggled with the words. Impossible, you are small, weak, how? Kate did not answer. She simply kept her eyes on him until the station's medical team arrived. They loaded onto a hovering stretcher, still staring at her like she was some kind of monster. Ambassador Hayes appeared at her side. Are you all right? Yes, sir, Kate said. Just doing my job. That was more than your job, Lieutenant. He looked worried. That was an act of war. The will not let this go. Kate touched her throat. It would bruise badly, but she had suffered worse in training. He grabbed me first, sir. I defended myself, measured force, textbook response. You broke his arm. I could have broken his neck. The ambassador blinked, then he nodded slowly. I suppose you could have. He looked around the hall at the staring aliens. We need to talk to the council. Now, they are going to want an explanation. For what? He assaulted a human security officer. I stopped him. They will want to know how. Ambassador Hayes rubbed his face. Kate, you just did something that should not be possible. That weighs 4 times what you do. His species has ruled their sector for centuries through physical dominance, and you dropped him like he was nothing. Kate looked at the broken chess piece on the floor, the king crushed by casual strength. I am not nothing, sir. None of us are. The council chamber doors opened. 3 alien officials entered, their faces unreadable. The lead one, a tall creature with too many eyes, spoke through its translator. The human delegation will come with us. Immediately, the Empire has lodged a formal complaint. They are demanding answers if this cannot be resolved peacefully. It paused. There will be consequences. Ambassador Hayes straightened his uniform. We will answer any questions, but Lieutenant acted in self-defense. The station's cameras will prove that. The cameras prove that your species is more dangerous than you told us, the alien said. The council believed humans were a peaceful, physically average species. This incident suggests otherwise. Kate and the ambassador exchanged glances. There was so much the aliens did not know about Earth, so much humanity had carefully not mentioned during first contact. Maybe it was time they learned the truth. The delegation followed the council officials out of the hall. Behind them, the aliens whispered and pointed. Word of what happened would spread fast. By morning, every species on Meridian Point would know that a human female had broken a warrior's arm. Kate touched her throat again. It hurt to swallow, but she had no regrets. The council chamber was cold. Kate sat in a chair that was too small for most species and too large for her. Ambassador Hayes sat beside her, his hands folded on the table. Across from them, 5 council members watched from their elevated platform. Behind them, on a large screen, the footage played again. Grabbing her throat, Kate's swift counter, the crack of breaking bone, his shocked expression. The video ended. Silence filled the chamber. The with too many eyes leaned forward. Her name was, Kate had learned. She was from a species called they were the council's primary peacekeepers. Explain, said simply. Ambassador Hayes cleared his throat. Commander assaulted a member of my security team. Lieutenant defended herself using appropriate force. Under any civilized law, she had every right. We are not questioning her right, another interrupted. This one looked like a floating jellyfish, its body contained in a water-filled suit. We are questioning her capability, our Category 5 strength. Humans were classified as Category 2, barely above the galactic average. Yet your lieutenant defeated a warrior in hand-to-hand combat. This should not be possible. Kate spoke before the ambassador could answer. It is possible I did it. Many eyes blinked in sequence. You are being deliberately difficult, Lieutenant. We require an explanation for your species' apparent deception. We did not deceive anyone, Hayes said. We answered every question truthfully during first contact protocols. You said humans were not a warrior species. We are not. We have not conquered anyone. We came here seeking trade and friendship. You said humans were physically unremarkable. Hayes hesitated. Kate saw him searching for the right words. Finally, he sighed. We are unremarkable by human standards. They looked at each other. The jellyfish creature spoke again. Perhaps you should explain what that means. Hayes pulled out a small device and placed it on the table. A hologram appeared above it, showing Earth spinning slowly. Blue oceans, green and brown continents, white polar ice caps. This is our home, Hayes said. You already have it in your files. You classified it as a standard Class M planet, suitable for carbon-based life. Nothing unusual. That classification was correct, said. No, it was very wrong. Hayes touched the device. The image zoomed in on Earth's surface. Our planet has a surface gravity of 9.8 meters per second squared. Your files list that as normal, but normal is subjective. For most council species, Earth's gravity is crushing. You would need mechanical support just to stand. The hologram changed, showing weather patterns. Massive hurricanes, tornadoes, blizzards that could bury entire cities. Our weather is violent, Hayes continued. Temperature swings of 50 degrees or more are common in some regions. We have storms that can flatten buildings, winds that can carry vehicles away, and we have adapted to survive them. Kate watched the faces. They were starting to understand. The image shifted to show various Earth animals: lions, bears, sharks, crocodiles, snakes, spiders. Our world is full of predators, Hayes said. Many of them hunt in packs. Some have venom that can kill in minutes. Others have enough strength to crush bones, and humans evolved alongside them. We learned to hunt them, to avoid them, to fight them when necessary. Many worlds have predators, the jellyfish said, but its voice was uncertain now. Not like ours. Hayes looked at Kate. She nodded. She stood and walked to the center of the chamber. May I demonstrate something? Hesitated, then agreed, if it will help us understand. Kate took off her uniform jacket. Under it, she wore a simple gray shirt. She rolled up her sleeves, showing the muscles in her arms. They were not huge, not obvious, but they were there, defined and strong. This is what I look like after 6 years of military service, she said. Before that, I grew up in Alaska. That is one of our northern regions. In winter, temperatures dropped to negative 40 degrees. I walked to school in that weather, played outside in it. My body adapted. She dropped to the floor and began doing push-ups, one after another, smooth and controlled. She did 50 without stopping, then stood up, not even breathing hard. This station has 0.7 Earth gravity, she said. Everything here feels light to me, easy, like moving through water instead of air. The stared. Kate continued. Our military training is designed to push human limits. We run marathons. We carry heavy loads over rough terrain. We fight in simulated combat for hours at a time. All of this in full Earth gravity. When I came here, it was like taking off a weighted suit I had worn my entire life. Hayes pulled up more files on the hologram. Medical records, training documentation, physical assessment scores. Lieutenant is not exceptional by human standards, he said. She is average, perhaps slightly above average in combat skills, which is why she was selected for security detail. But back on Earth, there are millions like her, some stronger, some faster, all of them products of our world's harsh conditions. The chamber was quiet except for the soft hum of the life support systems. Finally spoke, you are describing a. Hayes nodded slowly. We did not realize that until now. The classification was never applied to Earth. We thought our world was normal because it is all we have ever known. Are rare, the jellyfish said. They are closely monitored by the Council. Their presence often causes complications. We are not violent, Hayes insisted. We do not seek conflict. Lieutenant could have killed Commander. Instead, she broke his arm, a measured response. A warning. We understand restraint. Kate returned to her seat. Her throat still hurt where it grabbed her. She could feel it swelling. Accessed something on her console. I am looking at your files from first contact. You were asked about human capabilities. You said humans were peaceful explorers. We are, Hayes said. You said you had no interest in conquest. We do not. But you did not mention that every human on this station could potentially defeat our security forces in physical combat. Hayes met her gaze. You did not ask, and we did not want to frighten anyone. We came here seeking friendship. Telling you we were seemed like a poor way to start diplomatic relations. So you lied by omission. We information that seemed irrelevant. Lieutenant has been on this station for 3 weeks. In that time, she has not hurt anyone, not until she was attacked first. The conferred among themselves in languages Kate could not understand. She waited, feeling the weight of their judgment. In the medical bay was probably waking up. His arm would be in a regeneration cast. The delegation would be furious. They would demand justice, compensation, maybe even war. All because she refused to let someone choke her to death. Turned back to them. The Empire has filed a formal complaint. They are demanding that lieutenant be turned over to them for trial under law. The charge is assault against a military commander. Absolutely not, Hayes said. She defended herself. They do not see it that way. In their culture, physical dominance is a right. Commander was asserting his superiority. Your lieutenant's resistance was an insult to his honor. Kate clenched her fists under the table. His honor, he grabbed me by the throat. What about my honor? You are a female, the jellyfish said gently. And small by standards. He likely did not believe you would resist. In his mind, he was simply putting you in your place. My place, Kate's voice rose. My place is anywhere I choose to stand. If he thinks otherwise, he can try again. This time I will not be gentle. Hayes put a hand on her arm, a warning to stay calm. His eyes studied Kate carefully. You say you will not be gentle. What does that mean, Lieutenant? Kate met her gaze. It means I broke his arm because I chose to break his arm. I could have broken his neck. I could have crushed his windpipe. I could have taken one of his weapons and used it against him. I did none of those things. I used the minimum force necessary to stop the threat. And if you had used maximum force? Kate did not answer right away. She thought about her training, about the hours spent learning how to disable an opponent quickly and efficiently, about the instructors who taught her that every human body had weaknesses, regardless of size. Then Commander would be dead, she said quietly. And I would probably be dead too, killed by his warriors, but he would not have walked away from that encounter. I made sure he could. The chamber fell silent again. The battle group arrived 12 hours later. 6 warships, each one bristling with weapons and covered in armor plating that looked like it could shrug off anything Meridian Point's defenses might throw at it. They took up positions around the station, close enough to be threatening, but far enough to maintain plausible deniability. Kate watched them through the viewport in her quarters. She had not slept. Her throat was purple and black now, the bruises spreading across her skin like ink. It hurt to talk, hurt to swallow, but she refused to take pain medication. She wanted to remember this, wanted to stay sharp. A knock on her door made her turn. Ambassador Hayes entered, followed by 2 other humans. Commander Park from the security team and Dr. Vincent Cole, the delegation's medical officer. How are you feeling? Hayes asked. Kate touched her throat gently. I have had worse. That does not answer my question. She managed a small smile. I am fine, sir, ready for whatever comes next. Hayes sat down heavily. He looked like he had aged 10 years overnight. The council made their decision. They are offering the compromise. What kind of compromise? A trial by combat, you against Commander under neutral observation. If you win, the matter is considered settled. If you lose, he trailed off. If I lose, I die, Kate finished. Or worse. You do not have to accept. We can fight this through diplomatic channels. It might take months, maybe years, but... I accept, Kate said immediately. Hayes stared at her. You did not let me finish. There are other options. We could request asylum for you on Earth. The Council might. They might what? Let the start a war over hurt pride. How many people would die because I defended myself? Kate shook her head. No, I will fight, I will win, and this ends. Commander Park stepped forward. She was shorter than Kate, built like a brick, with arms that looked like they could bend steel. She had served in the Marines before joining the diplomatic corps. If you are going to do this, we need to train, Park said. The fight is scheduled for 3 days from now. The demanded it be soon before his arm fully heals. They want him angry and in pain. They think it will give him an advantage. Dr. Cole made a disapproving noise. They clearly do not understand human physiology or psychology. Fighting angry makes you sloppy. Fighting hurt makes you desperate. Neither is ideal. Kate looked at Park. What is the plan? We train hard, we train smart, and we make sure the entire galaxy sees what happens when someone threatens a human. Park's smile was sharp. Come on, I have reserved one of the cargo bays. We have work to do. The cargo bay had been converted into a makeshift training area. Mats covered the floor. Equipment was stacked against the walls. The other 3 members of the human security team were already there, warming up. Kate knew them all. Lieutenant Ben Carter, tall and quiet, who had been a boxer before joining the military. Sergeant Lisa, fast and precise, with a background in martial arts. And Private Jake, the youngest of the group, who had grown up on a ranch and was stronger than he looked. They stopped when Kate entered. Carter spoke first. We heard what happened. Are you okay? Kate nodded. I will be. Good, because we are going to kick your butt for the next 3 days, he grinned, in the nicest way possible. Park clapped her hands. All right, listen up. Kate fights in 72 hours. That outweighs her 4-to-1. He has 4 arms. He has thick skin that acts like natural armor. And he is going to be very, very angry. Sounds fun, said. Park ignored him. The advantage we have is training, technique, and the fact that Kate has already beaten him once. She knows his weaknesses now. We are going to exploit them. For the next 3 days, Kate barely left the cargo bay. They trained in rotating shifts, always keeping her fresh enough to learn but tired enough to simulate real combat stress. Park drilled her on joint locks and pressure points. Carter worked on her striking power and timing, taught her how to use an opponent's momentum against them, helped her build endurance. Between sessions, Kate studied footage of combat. The Council had provided archives of their warrior culture. She watched soldiers train, nodding their patterns and preferences. They favored overwhelming force, direct attacks, intimidation. They did not adapt well to changing circumstances. On the second day, a young appeared outside the cargo bay. He stood at the entrance, watching through the transparent barrier. Kate noticed him during a water break. Who is that? She asked Park. The commander glanced over. His name is Dax, junior officer in Scard. He has been watching since yesterday. Should we be worried? I do not think so. He is not armed. Station security cleared him. I think he is just curious. Kate walked to the entrance. Dax straightened, his 4 arms coming to his sides in what might have been a salute. He was smaller than, maybe only 7 feet tall, younger too. His skin had not yet developed the thick ridges of an older. Can I help you? Kate asked. Her voice was rough from the bruising. Dax hesitated. When he spoke, his translator struggled with the words. I wish to understand how you defeated Commander. I used his strength against him. He expected me to be weak. I used that expectation to my advantage. But you are weak by standards. Kate smiled despite the pain. Strength is not just about muscle. It is about knowing how to use what you have. We do not train this way. Dax gestured at the cargo bay where the other humans were sparring. We train to overpower, to dominate. You train to, what is the word, to deflect? To adapt, Kate said. Every opponent is different. Every fight is different. We learn to read the situation and respond appropriately. Dax watched Carter and grappling on the mats. Carter was bigger but was using leverage to keep him off balance. Neither was using full strength. They were thinking, planning, adjusting. This is strange to me, Dax admitted. But I see the value. Commander did not think, he only acted. Will he think this time? The young looked uncomfortable. No, he is angry, humiliated. He will try to crush you quickly to restore his honor. It is the way. Kate nodded slowly. Thank you for telling me this. Why would I help you? I do not know. Why did you? Dax did not answer. He simply turned and walked away, his heavy footsteps echoing down the corridor. Park appeared at Kate's side. That was interesting. He is questioning his training, his culture. That cannot be easy. Good, maybe this fight will teach more than just the lesson. Park checked her watch. Come on, 2 more hours, then you need to rest. The final day before the fight, Kate trained alone. She needed time to think, to center herself, to prepare mentally for what was coming. She thought about his hand around her throat, the certainty in his eyes that she would submit, the shock when she fought back. She thought about Earth, about the mountains of Alaska where she grew up, about learning to survive in conditions that would kill most species, about her drill instructors in basic training who pushed her until she thought she would break, then pushed her further. She thought about why she joined the military in the first place, to protect people, to stand between danger and the innocent, to be the one who held the line when others could not. That had not changed, not even out here among the stars. The day of the fight arrived. Kate put on a simple black uniform with no insignia, no weapons, just herself. The human delegation met her outside the arena. Hayes looked worried. Park looked proud. The rest of the security team looked ready to fight alongside her if needed. Remember your training, Park said. Stay calm, stay focused, and do not hold back, not this time. Kate nodded. I will not. They entered the arena together. It was massive, easily large enough to hold 1,000 spectators. But today it held more. Aliens from dozens of species filled the seats, all of them watching as Kate walked to the center of the floor. Across from her, a door opened, stepped out. His arm was still in a cast. Regeneration took time, even with advanced alien medicine, but he did not seem bothered by it. He carried himself with the same arrogant confidence as before. When he saw Kate, his yellow eyes narrowed. A council official stood at the edge of the arena, the peacekeeper. She raised her hand for silence. "This is a sanctioned trial by combat," she announced. "The rules are simple. The fight continues until one party yields or is unable to continue. Medical teams are standing by for both combatants. May honor guide your actions." Caden approached the center. They stood 10 feet apart. Spoke in, the translator echoed his words throughout the arena. "Today I will crush you, little human. Today you will learn your place." Kate looked up at him. Her voice was quiet but carried in the sudden silence. "You had your chance to learn. You chose not to. That was your mistake, not mine." The official dropped her hand. The fight began, charged immediately. No strategy, no caution, just rage and wounded pride driving him forward like a freight train. Kate moved left. The arena floor was smooth, offering good traction. She had tested it during her brief walkthrough this morning. She knew how her boots would grip, how fast she could pivot. This first strike came fast, two of his arms swinging in wide arcs meant to catch her regardless of which direction she dodged. Kate dropped low, sliding under his reach. She came up behind him and drove her elbow into the back of his knee. Stumbled but did not fall. He spun faster than she expected, his injured arm lashing out despite the cast. Kate blocked with her forearm and felt the impact rattle through her bones. It was like being hit with a metal pipe. She backed away, circling. Her arm throbbed, but nothing was broken. She flexed her fingers, everything still worked. The audience was silent. Thousands of aliens watching, waiting to see which species would prove superior. Advanced more carefully now, he had learned something from their first encounter. Kate was not an easy target, but he was still confident, still certain that his size and strength would win eventually. He lunged again, this time leading with his good arm. Kate and grabbed his wrist, using his momentum to guide him past her. She swept his leg as he went by, crashed face first into the arena floor. The impact shook the ground, but was already rolling, already getting up. His thick skin had protected him from serious damage. Kate did not wait for him to fully recover. She moved in, targeting the injured arm. She kicked the cast hard, right where the break had been. Roared, pain and fury mixed in that sound. He swung wildly, all four arms flailing. One caught Kate across the shoulder and sent her flying backward. She hit the ground hard, the air knocked from her lungs. The crowd gasped. Kate heard the human delegation shouting, but could not make out the words over the ringing in her ears. She rolled to her feet as charged again. This time she did not dodge. She planted her feet and caught his good arm with both hands. She twisted her hips, using the throw Park had drilled into her hundreds of times. His own weight and momentum worked against him. He flipped over Kate's hip and crashed onto his back. Before he could recover, Kate dropped her knee onto his chest, driving the air from his lungs. She grabbed two of his arms and pulled them across his body, using them to pin him. "Yield," she said. Her voice was steady despite her racing heart. His answer was a headbutt that caught Kate on the chin. Stars exploded in her vision. She tasted blood. Her grip loosened and threw her off. They both got to their feet, breathing hard now. Kate's jaw felt like it was on fire. She worked it carefully. Not broken, but it would bruise, added to the collection. Was limping slightly. His injured arm hung at an awkward angle. The pain must have been incredible, but he showed no sign of stopping. "Why do you not stay down?" he growled. "You are beaten, accept it." Kate spat blood onto the arena floor. "I have been beaten before, this is not it." They circled each other. Kate's training took over, her mind calculating angles and distances. She noticed favoring his left side. The injured arm made him protect that quarter. It limited his options. She feinted right, then went left. Her fist struck his ribs with everything she had. The impact hurt her hand, but she felt something give under skin. He grunted and swung backhand. Kate ducked under it and struck again, same spot. Backed away. For the first time, Kate saw uncertainty in his eyes. "You fight well," he admitted, "for prey." "I am not prey," Kate said, "and you should have learned that the first time." She attacked in earnest now, Combinations of strikes and kicks, each one aimed at weak points. Joints, nerve clusters, the spots where even thick skin could not fully protect. She had studied their anatomy, she knew where to hit. Tried to defend, but his injured arm betrayed him. He could not cover all his vulnerable spots with only 3 functioning limbs. Kate's strikes landed again and again, not enough to drop him, but enough to add up, enough to wear him down. The warrior was tough. Kate had to give him that. He absorbed punishment that would have killed most species, but even he had limits. A spinning kick caught him in the temple. His eyes lost focus for just a second. Kate seized the opportunity. She stepped inside his guard, grabbed his good arm with both hands, and kicked his knee sideways. Something in the joint gave way, dropped to one knee with a cry of pain. Kate moved behind him, wrapping her arm around his thick neck in a chokehold. Not to kill, to control, to force a submission without permanent damage. "Yield," she said again. "This does not have to end with you unconscious." Struggled, he tried to pull her arm away, but his strength was fatting. The choke was cutting off blood flow to his brain. In seconds, he would pass out. Kate felt his resistance weakening. She prepared to release him the moment he lost consciousness. No point in causing brain damage if she did not have to. Then's body went limp. Kate released him immediately and stepped back. The collapsed face down on the arena floor. His chest still moved. He was breathing, just unconscious. The arena erupted in noise. Aliens shouting in dozens of languages, some cheering, some booing, all of them shocked. Medical teams rushed onto the floor. Human medics went to Kate. Medics went too. They loaded him onto a stretcher and carried him away. His warriors followed, their faces unreadable. Kate stood alone in the center of the arena. Her body ached, her jaw throbbed. Her shoulder felt like someone had hit it with a hammer, but she was standing, she had won. Entered the arena and raised her hand for silence. It took several minutes for the crowd to settle. "The trial by combat is concluded," she announced. "Lieutenant Kate of Earth is the victor. By council law, this matter is now settled. The Empire's complaint is dismissed." More noise from the crowd. Kate saw Ambassador Hayes pushing through the barrier, followed by the security team. They surrounded her, checking her injuries, congratulating her, making sure she was okay. "You did it," Park said, gripping her shoulder. The bad one. Kate winced. "Sorry, but you did it. You beat him clean." "I beat him angry and hurt," Kate corrected. "Not sure that counts as clean." "He got to set the timeline. He wanted to fight hurt. That was his choice." Hayes looked relieved and exhausted. "Come on, let's get you to medical. You need to be checked out properly." As they led her from the arena, Kate looked back at the crowd. She saw Dax standing in the section, watching her with an expression she could not quite read. He raised one hand in what might have been a salute. Kate nodded back. In the medical bay, Dr. Cole examined her thoroughly. Bruised jaw, bruised shoulder, minor internal bleeding from strikes, nothing serious, nothing that would not heal. "You are lucky," Cole said. "One of those hits could have shattered bones if it had landed differently." "Luck had nothing to do with it," Park said from the doorway. Kate knew exactly what she was doing. Still, against an opponent that size, in that state of rage, there were 100 ways this could have gone wrong. Cole applied a regeneration patch to Kate's shoulder. "The fact that you won while minimizing harm to yourself and your opponent is impressive." Kate lay back on the medical bed. Adrenaline was fatting, leaving her exhausted. "How is?" "Stable, unconscious, but stable. His medics said he will make a full recovery." Cole smiled slightly. "Though his pride might need more time to heal." His pride got him into this mess in the first place. Hayes entered, carrying a data pad. The council just released their official statement. The trial was broadcast live throughout the station and to surrounding systems. "You are famous now, Kate. The first human to publicly defeat a warrior in single combat." "Great," Kate muttered. "Just what I wanted." "You showed the galaxy what humans are capable of. You showed them we are not easy prey. That will matter in future negotiations." "I just wanted him to let go of my throat." Hayes chuckled. "Sometimes the smallest actions have the biggest consequences." He looked at his data pad. "The delegation is preparing to leave, but someone requested to speak with you first." "Who?" "Commander." Kate sat up, ignoring the protest from her bruised body. "He is awake." "Just regained consciousness. His medics say he is stable enough for a brief conversation. Do you want to see him?" Kate thought about it. Part of her wanted to refuse, she had nothing more to say but another part was curious. What did he want? To threaten her again? To demand another fight? "I will see him," she said finally. They brought her to a private medical room where lay on a bed designed for his larger frame. His injured arm was in a new cast. His knee was wrapped in a regeneration brace. His face was swollen where Kate had kicked him. He looked smaller somehow, diminished. When Kate entered, he turned his head to look at her. His yellow eyes were clear but tired. "You came," he said. His translator was set to low volume, making his words seem almost gentle. "You asked?" "Yes." He tried to sit up, but pain stopped him. He settled back with a grunt. "I wanted to say something before I leave this place." Kate waited. "You could have killed me," said quietly. "Twice now, both times you chose not to. I do not understand this." "Would you have understood if I had killed you?" "No, but I would be dead. Understanding would not matter." He flexed his good hands slowly. "In culture, strength is everything. The strong rule, the weak serve, but you have shown me something I did not know, that there can be strength in restraint, power in choice." "You are starting to sound like the ambassador," Kate said. Made a sound that might have been a laugh. "Perhaps. I have much to think about, much to learn." He met her eyes. "Thank you for the lesson, even if I did not want it." Kate nodded slowly. "Try not to grab anyone else by the throat." "I will remember." She turned to leave, but spoke again. "Lieutenant, what will you do now?" Kate paused at the door. "My job, keep people safe. Try not to start any more wars." "You would make a worthy warrior by standards." "I am a worthy warrior by human standards. That is enough for me." 3 weeks passed. Kate's bruises faded to yellow and then disappeared completely. Her jaw stopped aching. Her shoulder healed. The physical damage was gone, but something had changed on Meridian Point, something subtle but important. Aliens no longer moved out of her way with fear. Now they moved with respect. They nodded when she passed. Some even greeted her by name. The story of her fight with had spread beyond the station, traveling through trade routes and communication networks to distant systems. Humanity was no longer an unknown factor. They were dangerous but not violent, strong but restrained. The galaxy was still deciding what that meant. Kate stood in the security office reviewing shift reports. Commander Park sat across from her doing the same. The work continued. Guards to assign, patrols to schedule, threats to assess. "You know the sent another delegation," Park said without looking up from her pad. "I heard." "Smaller group this time. No warriors, just diplomats and trade officials." Kate glanced at her. "What do they want?" "To talk. Apparently the Empire has been doing some soul-searching since the trial. They are re-evaluating their approach to other species." Park smiled. "Who would have thought? All it took was you breaking their commander's arm, twice." "I only broke it once. The second time I just aggravated the existing injury." "Semantics." A message appeared on Kate's screen. She read it and frowned. "Problem?" Park asked. "Not sure. Ambassador Hayes wants to see me. Says it is important." "Better go find out." Kate left the security office and made her way through the station. She passed a group of small blue aliens who stopped to stare at her. One of them took a picture. Kate ignored it. Fame was uncomfortable but harmless. The human delegation quarters were quiet. Most of the staff were working elsewhere in the station. Kate found Ambassador Hayes in his office, looking out the viewport at the stars beyond. "You wanted to see me, sir." Hayes turned. He looked different, lighter somehow, like a weight had been lifted from his shoulders. "Kate, thank you for coming. Please sit." She sat. Hayes remained standing, gathering his thoughts. "How are you adjusting," he asked, "to everything that has happened?" "Fine, sir. The job is the same, just the context that has changed." "The context has changed significantly." Hayes pulled up a hologram showing Earth. "The Council officially reclassified our home world. We are now listed as a Category 7, the highest designation." Kate whistled softly. "That will complicate future relations." "In some ways. In others, it opens doors. Species that would have dismissed us now take us seriously. The Council has offered humanity a seat on their security committee." "That is good news, is it not?" "It is, but it comes with responsibilities and with requests." Hayes looked at her directly. "They want to send observers to Earth to study our training methods, our culture, our way of thinking about strength and conflict." Kate leaned back in her chair. Do they now? Specifically, Commander requested to be one of the observers. He wants to learn from us. He called it understanding the warrior philosophy of a species that chooses restraint over dominance. That sounds like something he got from a textbook. Hayes smiled. Probably, but the request is genuine. The Council supports it. They think cultural exchange between humans and could benefit both species, reduce future conflicts. What do you think? I think it is a good idea, but it will require someone to guide the observers, to show them Earth, to explain our way of life in terms they can understand. He paused. I recommended you for the position. Kate blinked. Me, sir, I am security, not a teacher. You are the perfect choice. You have earned respect. You understand what he needs to learn, and frankly, you have proven you can handle difficult situations with diplomacy and force as needed. I punched him in the face, twice. After he attacked you, and then you chose not to kill him when you could have. That is the lesson he needs. That is the lesson his entire species needs. Hayes sat down across from her. This is not an order. If you want to stay here on station security, that is your right. But this assignment could shape how humanity and the interact for generations. You started this. I am asking you to finish it. Kate thought about Dax, the young who had watched her train, about Swords in the medical bay, about the weight of representing an entire species. If I do this, I need full authority, no interference from Earth military command, no political committees telling me what I can and cannot say. You will have it. This will be a civilian cultural exchange program. You report to me and I report to the Council. That is the chain of command. How long? 6 months initially, could be extended if needed. Kate looked out the viewport. Earth was somewhere out there. Home. She had not seen it in almost a year. The idea of going back, even with a group of 8-foot-tall aliens in tow, was appealing. All right, she said, I will do it. Hayes smiled with relief. Thank you. The transport leaves in 2 weeks. That gives you time to prepare. 2 weeks later, Kate stood in a docking bay watching as the shuttle approached. It was sleek and heavily armored, exactly what she expected from a warrior culture. The shuttle docked, the airlock cycled, the door opened. Stepped out first. His arm had healed, though Kate could see new scars where the bone had been repaired. He wore simple gray clothing instead of armor. Behind him came Dax and 3 other, all young and carrying nothing but small bags. Stopped in front of Kate. For a long moment they just looked at each other. Then he extended one hand, palm up, a gesture of peace in culture. Kate placed her hand on his palm. Welcome, ready to see Earth. I am ready to learn, said. The journey to Earth took 5 days. Kate spent the time preparing for what they would experience, the gravity, the weather, the diversity of human cultures and environments. Earth is not one thing, she explained. We have deserts and jungles, mountains and oceans, billions of people living in thousands of different ways. What you see in one place will not be the same as another. Where will you take us first? Dax asked. He had become the informal translator, his English improving rapidly. Alaska, where I grew up. You wanted to understand how humans become strong. That is a good place to start. When they arrived at the Anchorage spaceport, it was midwinter. Snow covered everything. The temperature was negative 20 degrees Fahrenheit. Kate wore a light jacket, the war thermal suits that the embassy had provided. Even with the suits, they shivered. This is normal? Asked, his breath fogging in the air. For winter, it gets much colder in some places. They stared at her. Kate smiled. Over the next weeks, Kate showed them her world. They hiked through snow-covered forests. They visited a human military training base where recruits ran obstacle courses in freezing rain. They met families living in remote cabins, surviving through the winter with minimal technology. They were amazed and horrified in equal measure. Human children play in this, Dax observed, watching a group of kids having a snowball fight. They laugh and enjoy themselves. We adapt young, Kate said. It is not cruelty, it is preparation. They moved south to other locations. Urban centers where millions of humans lived in close quarters, yet maintained order through law and cooperation rather than dominance. Rural farms where families worked together to survive. Disaster relief centers where volunteers gave their time to help strangers. Absorbed it all in silence. He watched everything with those yellow eyes, processing, comparing to his own culture. One evening, they sat around a campfire in the Rocky Mountains. The stars above were the same ones Kate had seen from Meridian Point, but from Earth they looked different, more familiar, more like home. "I begin to understand," said quietly. "Your strength comes not from dominance but from cooperation, from choosing to protect rather than conquer." "That is part of it," Kate agreed. "But we can conquer if needed. We have fought wars, we have destroyed enemies. We are not pacifists. We simply prefer peace when possible." "The strong protecting the weak," Dax said. "It is a strange concept to us." "Why, you protect your young, do you not?" "Yes, but only until they become strong enough to defend themselves. Then they must prove their worth or be cast out." Kate poked the fire with a stick. "We protect our people throughout their lives, the elderly, the disabled, those who cannot fight. We see that as strength, not weakness. Because a society that cares for all its members is stronger than one that only values warriors," said slowly. "Yes, I see it now." On the final night before the return to their ship, Kate took a side. They stood on a cliff overlooking the Pacific Ocean, watching waves crash against rocks below. "What will you tell your people?" she asked. "The truth, that humans are not what we thought, that strength has many forms, that a species that can break us chooses instead to teach us." He looked at her. "You could have killed me, Kate, both times we fought. You chose not to. That choice has changed more than you know." "Changed what?" "My empire, my people, myself." He turned back to the ocean. "We have been warriors for so long we forgot why we fight. You reminded us. We fight to protect, to preserve, not simply to dominate." Kate said nothing. Sometimes silence was the best response. "The Empire wishes to propose a formal alliance with humanity," continued. "Not as conquerors or subjects, as equals, partners. We have much to learn from each other. That will be up to the ambassadors and the council." "Yes, but it begins here with what you have shown us." He offered his hand again. "Thank you." Kate shook his hand. "Do not grab anyone else by the throat." Actually laughed. "I will not. That lesson at least I have learned." The delegation left the next morning. Kate stood at the spaceport, watching their shuttle lift into the gray Alaska sky. Ambassador Hayes stood beside her. "You did well," he said. "I showed them Earth. They drew their own conclusions." "That is diplomacy at its finest." Hayes checked his communication device. "The Council just sent a message. They want you back on Meridian Point. Apparently 3 other species have requested similar cultural exchanges with humanity." Kate groaned. "Wonderful." "You are good at this, Kate, whether you want to be or not." She thought about words, about how one choice could ripple outward, changing things in ways she never intended. She had just wanted to defend herself, to survive. But somehow that simple act had led to this. To understanding, to alliance, to a future where humanity was not feared but respected. "All right," she said. "Let me grab my gear, but next time someone grabs me by the throat, I am breaking more than just their arm." Hayes smiled. "Fair enough." 6 months later, Kate stood in the observation deck of Meridian Point. The trade delegation had just concluded their meeting with the Council. A formal alliance had been signed. Human and security forces would train together. Cultural exchanges would continue. 2 species that had nearly gone to war were now partners. Dax found her there, looking at the stars. "You are thinking," he said. His English had improved significantly. "Always dangerous," Kate replied. "My people have a saying now. They call you the warrior who chooses. It is a title of great respect." "I am just doing my job." "You do more than that. You show us what is possible when strength is tempered with wisdom." Dax stood beside her, looking at the stars. "There are many species in the galaxy, many conflicts, many misunderstandings. What you did for us, you could do for others. One broken arm at a time." Dax smiled, "If necessary." Kate watched a human transport dock at the station. More diplomats, more security staff, more people who would learn to navigate this strange new galaxy while staying true to what made them human. His words echoed in her mind, the strong protecting the weak, choosing restraint over dominance, cooperation over conquest. It was a simple philosophy, but simple did not mean easy. Still, humanity had survived ice ages and plagues, wars and disasters, predators and extinction events. They had turned a hostile world into a home. If they could do that, they could handle the galaxy. Kate touched her throat where the bruises had long since faded. The mark was gone, but the memory remained. The moment when she chose to defend herself, when she showed the galaxy that humans would not be victims. That was a mistake, she had told. Looking back now, she realized it was not just his mistake. It was an opportunity for growth, for understanding, for building something better than what came before. The galaxy was vast, full of dangers and wonders. Humans were just beginning to explore it, but they would explore it their way, not as conquerors, not as victims, but as partners who understood that true strength meant knowing when to fight and when to extend a hand. Kate smiled at her reflection in the viewport. She was still just doing her job, keeping people safe, standing between danger and the innocent. But now the scale was bigger, the stakes were higher, and the people she protected included species she had never heard of a year ago. It was a good job, hard, sometimes painful, but good. She turned from the viewport and headed back to the security office. Commander Park would have the new shift assignments ready. There were patrols to run, guards to brief, a station full of different species to protect. And if anyone else tried to grab her by the throat, well, they would learn the same lesson did. That humans were small by galactic standards, but small did not mean weak, and weak was never something humanity had been. That was a mistake they would not make twice for. She left him there alone with his thoughts and his injuries. Whatever lesson he took from this, that was his business. She had done what needed to be done, nothing more, nothing less. Tapped her console. The council will deliberate. Ambassador Hayes, we recommend that you keep your delegation confined to your quarters for now. They are demanding action. Until we decide how to proceed, it would be best if humans and do not encounter each other. Hayes stood. When will you make a decision? Soon, but be prepared. The Empire is powerful. They have many allies. If they push for war over this incident, the Council may have no choice but to appease them. Kate and Hayes left the chamber. As they walked through the corridors, other aliens moved aside. Some stared, some whispered. Word had spread fast. What do we do now? Kate asked. Hayes looked tired, old. Now we wait, and we hope that the Council values justice over politics. They did not have to wait long. He grabbed her, she defended herself, simple as that. If the galaxy could not accept that humans would not be victims, then the galaxy was in for a surprise.